it's great to be back here today with John Arnott, who's the head of our newly launched small and personal digital bank. I think we publicly launched on 10 February, John.
Yes.
And we did go with the MVP, or minimum viable product.
Yes.
How did you feel about launching when it wasn't fully fledged?
Oh, I was just really excited, Lex. I mean, I think the reason why is we've done a lot in designing this proposition to make sure it's customer centric, but nothing beats getting true customer feedback. So getting out into the wild, getting customer feedback, whether it's from our friends, our family, my wife, or even our own staff, seeing them how they use this account as a main account, getting feedback around what works, what can be better, but equally, what do they want next? What do they want more of? So we've got a great range of kind of tools, I guess, to give us that customer feedback to make sure we're staying customer centric, and our future, which is very exciting, ultimately ensures we're customer led.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting for me, because when we talked about the fact we were going to launch this in about 12 months, many of us are going, oh, we've been in projects before, never will that happen. But it did. And I think it was wonderful that it did.
Exactly.
And as you said, we can get that real customer experience, because we know sometimes customers think they're going to do something, but actually watching what they do is really important.
Agreed. Yeah, what they say and what they do can be very different, but equally what they kind of value versus what they just appreciate. I think there's a very subtle difference. So seeing customer behavior, how they transact, hearing from them in terms of how they rate our app in our app store, understanding equally kind of where things aren't right. Seeing those live experiences, just gold dust for us, so we can ensure we continue to iterate, as I said earlier, because the journey is only 1% done. It is just the start. It's not an MVP that's not going to evolve. It's an MVP that's going to evolve significantly over the coming period.
And that's really exciting. But tell us what customers are saying. What do they like? And you were talking to me before about your wife. What don't they like, and how are we reacting?
Yes. So I think they're kind of, what do they like? There's probably a couple of kind of key thematics there. I think the first one is just underlying value in the account. I don't think we can underestimate the power of not having monthly fees. I think customers really appreciate that. And then secondly,
you should say that again. No monthly
fees. That's right. But, I think, a lot of customers are still paying fees for the privilege of having an everyday bank account. With this product, there are no fees. There's no kind of hidden catches. It is what you get. And coupled with no fees, but equally, we've recently launched a partnership with Qantas as well, around how we're giving customers value back through kind of Qantas points on their average balances in their accounts, on their monthly average balances. So I think that's
pretty unusual, isn't it, in this environment?
It is unusual, yeah. Most people get Qantas points on spending. Our view is, you don't need to spend to get points. You can actually earn points on kind of good financial management and the average balance you have in your account. So I think that kind of giving customers good value in the current environment is super, super important.
Now, come on, be honest. There must be a few negatives there as well.
Oh, I think there's a few things from an experience point of view that we're certainly looking at. One of the great examples is, at the moment, we have a password in the app. So if you want to make a payee to a new person, so if I wanted to make you a payment, Lex, for example, I set you up as a new payee, we have to go through certain levels of kind of security. Most banks either have a Face ID or a PIN. We ask for a password. A lot of customers, when they go to make the payment, they've forgotten that password. So how do we help customers remember that password? How do we have a process in place that they can actually kind of set a new one, which is really simple and easy? So there's a few little nuances there that we just really want to kind of understand and take back into our kind of design houses and make sure we're kind of thinking about how do we design it in a better way so that we remove those friction points from the customer experience.
Great. Because I think we want to have security, right? We live in a world where that's really important.
Indeed.
And we all know the amount of scams and phishing that exists.
Yeah.
And, we've got the numberless card, but we don't want to make it inconvenient for customers. Well, as you said, we were relying on that customer feedback to kind of schedule what comes next.
Yes.
I don't want you to tell us what comes next, because we're very excited about that. But how do you go about prioritising, making sure we do deliver something constantly? Because that's part of our promise, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just the big things. Like, we've definitely had some feedback from customers that they'd like to see kind of new products launched. And yes, we are looking at that. But sometimes it's the small things that really add up, that really make a difference, those experience pieces. So we are gathering from all our various kind of customer listening points, whether we listen to customer calls, whether we're seeing customer behavior, we're doing social listening, we're monitoring App Store comments. We're almost forming a kind of a view around, what do customers want? But of course, we need to go through and prioritize that based on what's important. And there's no real right or wrong answer in that. It's just around kind of continued iteration, continued innovation, and continued learning as we go through and continually evolve our proposition.
Yeah, well, it's pretty exciting for us here at AMP. I think we're on a new journey of innovation and digitisation, and hope the customers are really enjoying it. Is there any final words from you?
Just keep watching this space. This ultimately, I think, is something that can really kind of change Australian banking. We have a vision to be Australia's best digital bank, and I firmly believe that this value proposition, powered with our partners that we're working with, I think it can really make a difference to Australians, but it can only make a difference if we're getting the feedback from customers and we continue to kind of listen to that and stay true to our kind of our mission of being truly customer centric. So no, all good.
And particularly important for those smaller micro businesses out there who are doing that business on the lounge at night. That's who we really want to encourage to get on there.
Absolutely, absolutely. We believe our proposition for small businesses. We know that small businesses have got no time. Their time is all going into running their business. So how can we make sure that we offer a banking experience that not only gives value, is not only secure, but it's really easy for them, frictionless, and ultimately we want to take the burden out of banking for these small businesses because we know it's so important for them, particularly in this current environment.
Well, thank you, John.
Thank you, Lex.
And get out there and start delivering.
Let's keep on going. Thank you, Lex.